G'day, fellas, and welcome to game number 9 of the Outback Octagon. We've got a very exciting match for you today because we decided to invite a few friends over. We decided to invite just a couple of deer because we heard you like deer. So we got some deer and we put some deer in your deer and we made more deer. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 9. A pleasure to have your company. So this week, of course, we've got 8 players from the previous round that have come back. They are different players, so it's, you know, you'll see different players from different games. It's kind of like a different group, basically. But you will still remember all of their names and all their faces. But if you don't, I will introduce them for you. And of course, we'll start at our 12 o'clock position today. And that's going to, of course, be with Eliona, who spawns in the middle of the map in the color teal, playing as the English, representing Team France. And over on the east side of the map, in the color pink, playing as the Ottomans, representing Team China, also representing Team Elephant, it's Louis MT. To his south, in the color green, also representing Team China, also representing Team Elephant, but playing the Rus, who is going to be having a very good game today. It is CSO. Oh my lord. To the south, in the color blue, playing as Joan of Arc, representing Team Fox. And also representing Team Spain today, it's Vortex. To his south even further, in the color red, playing as the Chinese, representing Team Canada, it's Wham-O-1. In the west of the map, in the color orange, playing as the Byzantines, representing Team United States of America, it's Fei-Chan. And in the color purple, spawning to her east, representing Team Netherlands on the Mongols, it's Don Ardi. And our final player for today, spawning at the 11:59 position, in the color yellow, representing Team Australia, playing as the Juicy Legacy, this is Giacchino, aka Pepino Pig. Can I get some Aussies in the chat? If you don't know the chat, you probably haven't watched an event, a sports event before, where there's been an Australian team present, or at least an Australian crowd present. I remember when I was younger, back in the year 2000, we had the Australian Olympics held in Sydney. And I tell you what, I think I watched every single hour of that event. One of the things that you would hear chanted throughout that event was just, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. It just became our national anthem. But speaking of anthems right now, the new Khan has risen. I was a little bit worried there. I thought a player had been eliminated, but no, it is not the case. So let's talk a little bit about this map. I'm going to put my legs up. Just give me a second. I'm going to grab my Red Bull in one hand. I'm going to put my mouse in the other hand. And we're going to have a little bit of a chat about this map, about who favors or whose position is favored here. We might ride on board with Giacchino because she has got an absolutely god-tier position. Look at this spawn that she's got. Can you believe this? I tell you what, this is kind of wild because she's isolated like crazy with only this tiny little land option to get you through. You might be able to come through on the water's edge. But other than that, it's pretty much just, you know, wall this off and go crazy with the boat boom if you want. Meanwhile, we got a couple of little contests that are in. So the first one is obviously going to be over on the east side. We've got our 2 Chinese players who are spawning, unfortunately, right next to each other. There will be pretty much no excuses if these guys don't attack each other. We're going to start, you know, getting angry and saying, oi, you two, fight. You know, you got to poke them with a stick a little bit. With the amount of deer that we've got on this map, you can't help but feel like CSO is going to be doing pretty well for himself. Now, keep in mind, the deer changes haven't come through yet, so for every deer this guy kills, he's getting 10 gold in the bank. At the moment, he's only sitting on 71 gold, but I suspect that's going to rise pretty quickly over the rest of the game. In the middle of the map, we've got Eliona, who just kind of chills out. If anybody's going to be really close to him, it's probably going to be Giacchino in the north, or Pepino Pig, which is probably better to refer to her because that's the name that she's playing under in the game. So that's probably going to be your contest in that position. But down to the south, we've got 2 of the favorites. If you were to assess this group from an objective perspective, you'd say Vortex, Wham-O-1, probably Louis MT as well. So Let's take a look. Actually, if I remember correctly, hold on. Have the deer changed in this patch for the roost? I think I might have to take it back. The deer have changed in this patch. I'll be honest with you. It's been a while since I've played the roost. All I know is that we're not as fast. Wait. I remember. Yeah. Okay, I take it back. Calm your comments down. All right. And I just want to thank my my Kuroi swordsman right now who tagged me in the chat and said, actually, Drongo, the deer have changed. So thank you for allowing me to walk that mistake back. I just, the only reason I remembered like this one part is because of the Reddit posts about it, but that's another story. Meanwhile, on the west side, I think Don Artie's going to be pretty evenly matched here up against Faye. Might have a bit of a tough time, obviously, playing the Mongols, a civilization that excels in the early game, but doesn't do too well the longer it goes. So hopefully Faye is going to be able to survive through the early game. Age-ups have started to come through. It's our two guys over in the east, both of them starting off pretty early. Now, keep in mind that Louis MT's already lost his gold. The gold has been denied. Not only do we deny the first gold vein, we deny the second gold vein as well. And that means that Louis is going to have to fall back over onto this gold. Now, I'm confident that he knows about this gold, but the reality is this could be potentially looked at a counterpoint here by CSO, depending on how he wants to go about it. So we'll have to wait and see what the plan is for him. But he's got a very nice protected town center in here. These guys are right on top of each other. All right, Age-Up's coming through. Let's check in with Wham on the south side. Obviously playing the Chinese here. Definitely one of the best FFA civs. One thing to note, we don't see a Holy Roman Empire here. We don't see an Order of the Dragon. We do have the Juicy Legacy, but Chikyo being up in the north here, it's going to mean that access to relics isn't really a question. Or not, I guess, yeah, not really a question. When it comes to relics, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 that I can see, but I mean, there's a lot of resources on this map, so I may have missed 1 or 2 or 1,000. Look at the amount of deer that we've got. That is so many damn deer. That is just... Today is a day we are all going to be enjoying venison for dinner and breakfast and lunch, because that's all we've got left. So, who's going to be our first player eliminated? You would have to think it's going to be one of these two. It could also be Don in the west versus Faye. That could be another option. Whammo1, you got to remember, he's a pretty smart guy. And even though he's got Vortex right next to him, Vortex might just see that and say, you know what, having a thorn in my side for this entire game, it could just be a case that he says, you know what, we're actually going to duke it out. But you've got to remember that when it comes to FFA, if you're going to take somebody out, you want to take them out swiftly, and you want to make sure that they don't really know that you're coming for them. So in this case, we can see that Wham's got the scout out on the map. He will be absolutely just constantly harassing the base of Vortex. He wants to see everything that is going on. He wants to see, do we have second town centers coming up? What's the plan for him? So that's going to be the big question on Wham's mind. Meanwhile, let's check out toward that west side. It's going to be really hard with this minimap, though. I will say that much. It's going to be very difficult with this minimap. There is just so many deer on it. And this is, I'll just say right now, hold on. Let me take a drink of my Red Bull first. That's good bull. So one of the things that I'm not kidding you. Okay, I gave this feedback to the devs in the alpha for Age of Empires 4. Like literally, it's completely under wraps. This is the feedback I gave. I said on the minimap, can you just make it so that there's like a little button that when I press it, it gives me a list of all the resources, and I can just toggle on which resources I want and which resources I don't want on the map. So as an example, if I'm playing as the Delhi Sultanate, I would really want to see berries, so I'd always keep that on. Whereas I wouldn't want to see the boar, because I don't really care about the boar. Now, granted, at the top level, players probably still want to see the boar for the duration of the game, because you want to try and deny it away from the enemy, or you want to harass it. But it should also, I thought it would be a nice little thing just to help you out a little bit more. But unfortunately, evidently, it wasn't a priority. Age-ups are starting to come through, though, for these players. Don Artie in the west has reached that castle age. In the center of the map, El Yona going to be reaching castle age as well. And, of course, in the north, we do see Pepino Pig, who has now also reached the castle age. She'll be looking to pick up some relics. We did talk about the fact that she did favor that when it comes to this civilization. playing as the Juicy Legacy, but she'll be following it up with a Jiangnan Tower. So going to be looking to go into that Song Dynasty, probably going to be looking to go for about a 3 TC boom, which is, like, this is a great strat. This is a 1v1 strat. It's applicable to FFA. It's one of the, you know, when I played the Juicy Legacy in FFA, this is the strat I'm going for. And you can see with her so heavily on the stone, that is indeed going to be the plan. But take a look at this. CSO in the east, in the Castle Age. A couple of racks is already down. Blacksmith is up as well. And Louis MT is going to be on the defensive early. He's gone for the battering ram. Oh, this could be terrible. In fact, I suspect it's probably going to be very terrible for him. Investing into a feudal attack right as your opponent reaches Castle Age. The men-at-arms are already starting to come through. +1 ranged armor undoubtedly is already there. And now over on that west side, have a look at this. Fei Chan says, hey, Don, how's it going? I heard you like castles. Well, unfortunately, you can't be, you won't be building any today because I'm going to kill you. Because Don's in the Castle Age. That's why Don likes castles. But we do see the Hippodrome getting out some great value for these horsemen already. Keshik's trying their best. She's going to siege down the outpost here instead of going after the units. Bit of a curious decision, but I guess it makes sense if there's arrow slits inside. Vil's going to be trying their best to hold the line. Looks like the king is out in the middle of the map, and for the moment, the defense will be strong from the Don, utilizing his Vils, as well as those couple of Keshiks. Meanwhile, over towards that east side, units continue to pressure CSO. He's got this beautifully positioned high trade house down towards the south. How we doing? Let's check in with Wham. Looks like it's going to be straight to Castle Age. A couple of stables. Has also stopped at a Song Dynasty as well. And if we take a look at Vortex, Vortex is going to be opening with triple TC. Vortex, you are an absolute madman. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how that's going to work out for you. I feel like when it comes to FFA, you want to avoid going too heavy on the economy. Like, I feel like 2 TCs is a guarantee that you're going to be able to scale into the late game, and you're going to be able to keep up with most players. Unless, you know, except for that guy in the corner who's going for 3 TCs and he's doing that crazy strategy. You can see the barracks about to be pulled out, so he'll be fine. But yeah, it's like you very much expose yourself. And speaking of exposed right now, it looks like the galley should be able to force this villager away. No wall's going to be coming in just yet. Kind of annoying not to be able to get that wall up, get that guarantee out that you've got a little bit of time to buy. But Louis MT finds himself in a very difficult position in this game. But back over towards the west side, Spearmen have now been added, or rather, Lamette and I have now been added into the combo here for Fei Chan. She begins to siege down that town center. Keep in mind, the king is inside. Badu Khan is there, but the Keshik number looking good here for the Don on the defense. Castle Age does come through now for Louis MT, so that defense over on the east side of the map should be a little bit stronger for him. He is struggling though. MIA on the backside is nice and well protected, but have a look at this. Don Artie manages the hold with Keshik, pure Keshik. He is obviously in the Castle Age. He gets a couple of men-at-arms in the midst of it as well. But this will be tough for Faye because now she's going to have to defend against Castle Age units. Does she find a potential window to age up? I don't think so. This is going to be very hard for her. She went quite aggressive. Excuse me. Compared to Louis MT, who looked to try and get that age up through, is going to be moving into men-at-arms as well as crossbows. We start to see them beginning to build up here. Walla attempt. She might be able to find it. I think she will. Yoink! She steals away the knight. She'll be able to utilize that knight to defend her Shaolin monks, or her warrior monks, as they make their way back towards her base. Very nice right there. But now, Don finds himself in a bit of an interesting spot, right? Where he can say, okay, I'm going to let you live, Faye. Just don't attack me. Or he can double down and try and, you know, leverage the power that he'll have. Castle Age now going to be coming through as well for Vortex in the middle of the map. Starting to add in plenty of stables. Now, on the south side, my main fear here, and oh, you can see the Lancers. Wham knows what is up. Wham is beginning to make moves on the map. He's obviously scouted out that Don's town center was under pressure, and he's not 100% sure on whether Don will be going down, so he's going to have to keep an eye on that. But one thing I would be very fearful of right now is if we take a look at the village account for Wham, he's sitting on 50 vills. Compare that over to Vortex. Vortex is on 62, so he's got a nice little villager lead already. On top of that, he's going to continue scaling into the mid-game, and Louis actually surrendered over on the east side. Instead of just, normally we don't encourage people to surrender. We say, look, you should ideally try and fight to the death just to avoid this. But it looks like early on, Louis MT is going to be our first victim here with the king going down. Obviously, in this position, Louis has assessed that, you know what, I'm not going to be able to win from this position. I'm not going to be able to beat CSO. He's locked me out of gold completely. You know, with units up the back of the base, we can see that over here. There was no way for him to make crossbows, so naturally, he just gave up. He said that's going to be it. And that gives CSO some space now. So, unfortunately for Louis MT, we'll have to catch him in the next game. But, we'll see exactly how this one plays out, though, because undoubtedly he's going to be keeping a keen eye on it to see who the big threats are. At this stage of the game, my main concern is Wham. You know, Wham is just this guy who's always waiting in the shadows, just looking to try and find a king snipe. And speaking of king snipes, take a look at this. Don Hardy might be the second player out of the game. The Lamentinai not defending against the Keshiks of the Mongols, but rather the Knights of the English, as they're almost a little bit like sharks, really, aren't they? They sense that there's blood in the water, and now they have started to hunt. Don continues to keep the king inside the town center, protecting it at all costs. Lamentinai able to chase away the Knights. Elyono senses that there could be a king very, very shortly. But remember, this whole time, oh my lord, there's another one! Another shark enters the battle, and Don Hardy starts thinking to himself, okay, all right, can we go next? You know, the cards were stacked against Don from the beginning. He was playing as the Mongols, which is never an easy task, but the king's going to be out shortly. It should drop out on this side right here, but remember, he is playing as the Mongols, so perhaps things go a little bit wild. Plenty of knights here. Where's the king? There's the king. The king is out. He's trying to bait it out. The town center's gone down. He's trying to push that king away. Does he have an outpost? No, nothing. Over here, and he's just going to unfortunately go down, and it's going to be Elyono that picks up the kill, sniping it away from Faye, sniping it away from Wham01. And cementing himself as definitely a front runner for this game if it weren't for his positioning. To be fair, his positioning's not terrible. He's also got a lot of food economy. He's got the ability right now to actually go crazy, and that's what he does. Look at this. 5 stables now put down. The Knights continue to roam around. This could be bad because he could now turn his attention towards the next victim. Who is that going to be? And I think, honestly, this is the best thing that you can do at this point. You've got a huge fishing economy. You've leveraged that. Now the question is, who has taken fights and as a result may be behind where you are? Because you haven't really lost much in this position. And so naturally, Elyono's going to think to himself, okay, well, Faye-chan was the one that basically took out Don. So let's go visit Faye and see what she's got going on in her base, and maybe we can pick up another kill there. Trouble is, with that strategy, Elyono, you've got to be very careful about painting a nice big target on your own back. Meanwhile, to the north, it looks like Pepino Pig begins to push out of her enclave. Town center numbers are decent. She's up to 3 TCs. King in the back of the base, nice and protected. She's got plenty of space to move back over here as well. And now the king jumps out of the town center. No, get back in there, Faye-chan. What are you doing? Faye, what are you doing? Faye! Did Faye not realize she had vills in the town center and she's accidentally popped them out? The king's just come forward and then Elyono's just... This is really, really bad. You got to remember, for a situation like that, we'll have to have the admin speak to her and just to clarify exactly what was going on there, because, as an example, Wham was waiting in the wings, wanting to get a piece of pie. But unfortunately, with Faye just going down so quickly, it just naturally means that the king goes straight over to Elyono immediately. Now that time is not spent killing the town center. Now that fight is not happening. That scramble's not happening. And as a result, the steamroll begins. And this is part of the reason why we make sure that we try and enforce those surrenders. And especially considering we had one a little bit earlier in the game with Louis MT, I think we might actually have to have our admin have a little bit of a chat to our players and just make sure that they know the rules, that they're not actually allowed to surrender. Like, it's literally in the rule book, we say don't surrender. They're not going to get penalized. We're not going to take points off them right now. But if they do it again after the after the message from the admin, I will 100% tell them to take points off the players. But the consequence of like this little action right here is that now Wham doesn't come in to fight, and because Wham doesn't fight, you've now got a huge army that still remains here. You've picked up the points for the kill. You've picked up the extra points, and now you can just immediately begin that steamroll over to the other side. King's going to jump out of the town center, and it is going to be a very slow roll over the top of Pepino Pig here. She needs to try and get this king out towards the keep. her units over towards the east of the map. You can see she was actually looking to push on CSO, but unfortunately, she's going to go down as well. We managed to capture it right as the king does go down, and that's going to be 3 kills now picked up for Elyona. And I think that Wham's realized, hold on a minute, we might be able to find ourselves somebody who is not paying attention to where their own king may be. And inside that primary town center, we do see there is a king that sits safely for the moment. There's a lot of units inside the base here of Elyona, but I'm not too fussed. I don't think it'll be too hard, but have a look at this. Vortex now going to be reaching inside the base. Yeah, so normally what happens is we ask people not to surrender, not to resign, and not to just throw their kings unprotected. They should always be keeping their kings protected at all times. And we ask that if they do want to give up, just walk away from the computer. Go to the fridge, go grab a drink. It's okay. You know, we've asked that you... That's what we ask of them. So hopefully we'll get that fixed up. But units continue to come back now for Elyona. One thing to note is these knights are still yet to be upgraded to elite knights. These are still on the Castle Age knights. So even though you've got that, you know, that Imperial Age, you're not really capitalizing on it just yet. Wham going to get caught off guard here as well. A couple more knights going down, and you can just see the power of the knights when it comes to this FFA mode. I tell you what, Vortex, I'm kind of impressed that he spawned this close to a lot of players and just kind of remained untouched. Well, to be fair, he wasn't really, you know, that close to players. He was in the middle of players, but it wasn't that close to them. And he's just remained untouched for the duration of this game. But, you know, 22 minutes into the game, we've now got 4 players remaining. And at this stage, if you had to give one player the advantage, you'd have to 100% say it's Elyona. Elyona has just taken out 1, 2, 3 kings with a max population of 350, fighting up against 3 other people in the lobby. The question is going to be whether they can come together to look to eliminate Elyona, because that is the biggest reason I've ever seen to justify teaming up. So hopefully Elyona looks to get a couple of stone walls up, maybe pick up a couple of relics, and position for the late game. But so far, how much of a role have the deer played? Well, we do have a Rus player, and the Rus player is going, well, pretty happily with the deer. 3 town centers. The boom continues quite strong. CSO on 71 vills for the moment. Just looking to mind his own business. Obviously, caught a bit of flack in the early game. Managed to eliminate Louis. So he's picked up a kill as well. And he's arguably in even a better position than Elyona, I would say. Because the biggest problem that you're going to have to Oh, this is always really scary. When you get somebody like Vortex, who says to himself, you know, I could go for the biggest threat in this lobby, or I could go for somebody that I can probably take out right now and get immediate value, get immediate points for. Oh man, that's really tough to see. That is really tough to see. But don't worry, we'll fix it up. We'll make sure it doesn't happen again. I will make sure it does not happen again. But let's take a look towards the north. CSO attempts to get a villager across. He does have a wall up here, so it's not going to be a huge issue. He can just walk the vills around, but looking to secure up some new territory. He's already got plenty of territory. Now, keep in mind, he did also go for the Spasskaya Tower. Spasskaya Tower will allow him to get those stone walls up. Where is the king? King's in this town center at the moment. Vortex going to continue hovering with the knights. Decent size army back here for Wham. Only veteran spears at the moment. He has reached Imperial Age, but we can see just how much that score is starting to really build up now for Wham. Or rather for Vortex. Bills on gold in the middle of the map. Actually going to get taken out here by Elyona. Not intentional, but just the byproduct of having so much damn range on that Berkshire. 137 vills in the back pocket for Elyona. Keep in mind, 350 max population space, so a lot of room for him to move here. And we do see walls coming up. Bit of weird, wacky walls. It's just going to be palisades for the moment. But definitely the right call. All of these forests are in the right position for him. So he'll be feeling pretty happy with how things are going. Let's check in on the south side. Let's have a look at what Wham is up to. Now, keep in mind, Wham, this is a map where there is a lot of deer. We decided to invite extra deer today. We invited so many deer, we didn't know what to do with them all, so oh my god, look at the amount of deer that's in here. This is actually crazy. Now, one thing to note, you might be thinking to yourself, damn, Drongo, that's a sick map seed. Can you share it with me? You know, I want to play it with some friends. And I would love to do that. Right now, I could hit escape and I could show you the seed. But from my understanding of the way that map seeds work in Mega Random is that you would not be able to recreate this map ever again. Like, it's literally the one and only time you'll ever see this map is right here, right now. Even if I give you that seed, it's not going to do the same map. Yeah, that's you know, sometimes you do get the crazy deer spawns. I wouldn't say it's common, but it does happen. Now, with regard to Elyona, you might be thinking, okay, where's the farms at, Elyona? You playing the English? You know, we know you like farms. Elyona doesn't need to farm. Elyona's got fish. Have a look at this. Plenty of fish out here. Picking up all the upgrades undoubtedly. Let's take a look and see. Don't worry. Don't worry. It'll come through. It'll come through eventually. We don't always get our upgrades immediately. That is for sure. Let's do a Vil check. Let's see what we're doing. 129 for Wham, 152 Elyona, 100 for CSO, 116 for Vortex. So we found ourselves in a little bit of a stalemate. And normally we hit the stalemate at the 3-player mark, not the 4-player mark. So this is a bit interesting. If it comes to breaking stalemates, I can't help but feel like Vortex has got to be a component of it. Like, when you see this many... Oh, I don't know, though. This is a lot of knights. And I feel like you probably want to be on the defensive with this. So I suspect there's probably a bit of negotiation going on. And I know that we'd love to see the chat. But unfortunately, no one from this game was streaming. So we couldn't actually take the chat from this game. We did ask a couple people, but they said they needed the frames on their computer, so they couldn't stream. So we're not able to take the chat. But maybe that's something that we consider, or we can consider with our scheduling, depending on where you are in the world, just to make sure that there's always going to be someone who can stream and show the chat. But Stonewall's now going to start coming up for CSO. Looking for another line of defense here. Wants to make sure that he has got time in the event a giant night raid comes through. Always got to be very cautious with this. All right, let's take a look. Down on that south side. Still a decent number of farms coming up for Wham. Kind of curious that he's going into this many farms when there's this many deer. I guess it's just one of those habits that you have. And wow, Elyona going crazy with the walls here. If I remember correctly, the first game that we saw Elyona play, was he playing purple and he just kind of walled half the map as well in that game? You got to respect a guy who walls this much. Like, this is just kind of wild. And that's a lot of Vils that are doing it. I guess he's just looking to control, you know, portions of the map. I'd be curious to see how much he knows about the rest of the map and the map state. Because it feels like he's walling out. Like, I don't even really know what's he walling here. He's just kind of creating walls to create space or to prevent resources being taken, perhaps. Maybe that's the game plan. You know, like, there's still resources back here and you just stop people from taking them if you wall it off. Maybe that's the play. That's a pretty smart move, actually. All right, let's take a look over on the east side and how CSO is doing. Hold on. We got more Vils making moves. Wham's also looking to take this position as well. A lot of players thinking about it. And now the wooden fortress. Wooden fortress? Why did I say outpost? It's a wooden fortress, right? I'm not going crazy. Why does it say outpost? Hold on. Why does it say outpost? Am I just going crazy? Is that... Did they change the name of the wooden fortress to an outpost? Or am I just going crazy? I think I'm going crazy. All right. Vortex going to be forced off the gold. I'm reading in the Twitch chat at the moment, people saying they think it's a bug. I'm not going crazy. All right. That's good to know. That's all. It's always been an outpost, Drongo. You're imagining things. Could you imagine this whole time I've just been living my life calling these wooden fortresses? All right, Spear's going to be able to clear it up. Let's take a look at the base of Wham. So we know that he's got the Great Wall Gatehouse. Is he in Ming Dynasty just yet, though? It doesn't look like he's picked up any of the... Oh, no, he is. I take it back. He's gone into Ming Dynasty now. He also opened with the Imperial Palace. So where's the... There's the Astronomical Clock Tower. So we can actually check what he's in right now. Okay, he's in Yuan. So he gets the extra movement speed instead of going for the extra health. They buffed Ming Dynasty recently, right? It went from 10% to 15% health on units. So maybe it's worth it, but I don't know. Having the extra movement speed, especially on a map that's so big, makes a lot of sense, right? Like, extra movement speed on your Cav, extra movement speed on your Vils. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. Well, Elyona's position continues to increase in value. 189 Vils. 320 out of 350 population, so he's definitely doing a great job in that regard. military-wise, starting to add in a few more hand cannoneers as well. Now the spears over on the west side of the map looking to break through. Stonewall is coming up for both players on the east. Looks like we've got a little bit of a DMZ coming in. Neither of the players really wanting to commit just yet. And I think this is probably the smartest move for CSO. CSO, at this stage of the game, just wants to chill. He wants to work together with everybody to take down Elyona. That's got to be part of his game plan. And he wants to make sure he doesn't get the kill, because if he gets the kill, then that puts a huge target on his back. But you can get the kill as long as you can eliminate somebody else after. So if he picks up the kill right here, and then, like, you know, he's got a secret squad of bombards in the back that he can just immediately blast through and then come after Vortex, then he's absolutely fine going for that kill. And that's kind of what we saw happen last week. We had one specific game where we had that situation. Have a look at this. We do manage to get ourselves a little bit of blue on blue. We got the dark blue on the light blue. Meanwhile, down towards the south side, looks like Elyona's starting to take fights in every single direction. Elyona, you got to be really careful right now. I know you got a lot of knights, and I know you think you're in a great spot, and you are in a great spot. But this is, you know, we don't want to go making enemies with everybody in the lobby at the same time. You've been quiet for the last 10 minutes. You got to pipe down, my friend. Jeez Louise. And to be fair, in Elyona's position, if he gets one more kill, he can 2v1 easily. Easily. I mean, even in this position, he can 2v1. Spear's going to be looking to try and catch the knights, but they managed to make their way through. Now, keep in mind, we do have our internal walls. We've actually got some stone walls on the backside here, so this will be able to protect the vills. But there's still quite a bit that's exposed down here. Elyona going to be looking to try and make that breakthrough. Still plenty of units back in the base. 350 out of 350 pop. No siege, though. And this could be a bit of an issue. Now, obviously, the knights are great at sieging, but at this stage of the game, stone walls are going to become mandatory for all of these players. That's why we see the Spasskaya Tower often coming through for our Rus players, just simply because it makes life a lot easier when you've got those stone walls than when you don't. You know, I'm sure you'll remember from Outback Octagon 2, the trouble that Enetand went to defend his king. He had to make an entire gauntlet to try and keep those damn knights out. Actually, if I remember correctly, they were horsemen. They were Khor's horsemen. And damn, weren't they good. Meanwhile, towards the north, a little bit of a raiding party coming through. Looks like the walls are completed. And down over on the south corner, the raid continues strong. Spears up on the wall. Holding the line for the moment. And now, sieging. I don't actually know what the whole plan is here with these knights. I think the knights, a little bit of a scouting party, a little bit of a, you know, maybe we can kill some vills, do some damage, that sort of thing. But I fear that, you know, you're making enemies here. You got to be so damn careful. Now, when it comes to king positioning, let's check in with Vortex. If Elyona wanted to go for the kill here, it would be as simple as rolling up a couple bombards and blasting through this piece and just going straight for the king. It is not complex at all. This is not a difficult task. There's no outpost here that's, you know, giving access or giving vision to Vortex. And this area is just completely isolated from any kind of position. So it really makes me think. Now, obviously, we know all that, but to be fair, Elyona can know that as well. If you've got outposts that you're building line of sight with, or if you've got a scout, if you know where the enemy king is, this is a simple task. The biggest risk that you'd have is as soon as you blast this wall down, Vortex is going to start running. And when he starts running, you better make sure that you're in bloody position to pick him up, because that's a lot of knights. And you know what? I don't reckon you could do it. I don't reckon you could do it. I think Vortex is way too quick. He's absolutely just going to get out and dodge immediately. Even if you've got knights up here and you blast through in one shot, he'll still make it out in time. He is that damn quick, that guy. All right, let's take a look over on the east side. The army for CSO is beginning to build. He's got 250 max population here. Decent-sized army. 52 spears, 34 streltsy. Not opting for the knight combo that we often see. I did see some suggestions on the recent videos that we posted on YouTube that said that maybe we should consider a nerf to knights in this game mode. Increase their population cost, reduce their speed. And I think those are great. You know, those are great. That's the English king going down. Don't be too scared. I think those are great suggestions. So now the question is, how does Elyona get through the stone walls? Something you've always got to be really careful of. The stone walls. Looks like with action on the south side, or a bit of movement on the south side, Wham could be thinking about getting in trouble as well. Getting himself in trouble. Let's take a look. Things going well so far. You can see how many knights there are in position. Keep in mind, royal bloodline is going to be a big component of this, but you've actually got two of the best knights against each other. Royal bloodline on the French royal knights versus the English knights. And you might be wondering what the hell's so special about the English knights. It's actually their bonus that they get, the extra attack speed, that makes them crazy. The extra 40% attack speed makes these knights a menace on the battlefield. So as long as Elyona is able to propagate that network of citadels bonus up towards the front, he'll be in a great spot if these two break out into fight, which I suspect they might any second now. A lot of hand cannoneers in the back as well. And now we've got ourselves a big battle. Two biggest players in this lobby at the moment, focusing down all of the knights. And the numbers are looking decent at the moment for Vortex on the defense. And you can see Elyona just having to fall back away from this position. Joan of Arc doing a wonderful job here, and Vortex basically saying, okay, I've proven to you that I am not to be messed with. Don't come back here. But the numbers keep building. The numbers keep building. I wonder if he's going to start thinking about deleting vills. Oh, have a look at this. Elyona's under pressure from the north. A lot of spears here. Good to see that Elyona got the message about getting out some siege. The bombards. Randy the Reboldaquin is here as well. And have a look at the pathway that these Rus units needed to take to get to the enemy base. It's quite the trek through the jungle, past the edge of the cliffs. But they made it. They made it successfully back. And Elyona looks to defend once again. Meanwhile, Wham continues building resources. He's moving out on the map. He's got spears, scouting out for more enemy resources. He's constantly checking in where the enemy kings are. He's got a lot of spearmen. In fact, he's only got spearmen. He's got 76 spearmen on this map currently. 76 spearmen and some villagers. Now Vortex is thinking about moving up himself. A lot of knights. He could look to try and focus down the Berkshire. There's no stone walls around it. And that's exactly what he's going to look to do. There is a town center next to it and an outpost. So if Elyona wants to, he could play a little bit of whack-a-mole. But Vortex is looking to try and get us around. You can see the amount of siege he's doing here. Absolutely eating away at this position. Now, he might need to part the sea here right now. Might need to do a little bit of a Red Sea, but the king is going to come out. Elyona's in trouble. The king's on the ground. The king's on the ground. The king is down, and Elyona goes down to one of the #1 mistakes you can make in FFA. He didn't wall the king. At this point, you just got to go, that sucks. But hopefully he learns for the next game. That is, that right there is, that's why we wall the king. You want to chuck stone walls around this bad boy. Only needs to be about 500 stones worth. It is painful to see that happening because Elyona was in objectively the best position in this game. And Vortex manages to pull off a snipe. So, it sucks to see for Team France. But unfortunately, there were 3. And if you had to give anybody a position that you'd say that they're the favorite, it would be very hard at this point. You've got Wham, who's down 50 population, but he's had a lot of time to just kind of chill out right now. You've got CSO, who's managed to pick up an early kill and has just been biding his time. And then you've got Vortex, who is an absolute madman when it comes to unit production. He's got a pretty safe king here in the middle of the map. And you might be tempted to call him the favorite as well, but when it comes to the scores, they are all very even. 14.9k, 14.7k. Wham a little bit lower, 11.8k. It's the consequence of delaying that Song Dynasty as late as he did, or that 2TC Song Dynasty as late as he did. He went straight up to Castle Age, I think, to pick up relics, which, you know, obviously relics are great. You know, you rush those pagodas. We can see he's actually managed to pick up. We see 1 pagoda here. I don't know whether he's got the other ones down. He's only, you know what? He's only got 1 pagoda or 1 relic in his possession. So I'm going to go with his. That's probably all that he's got. But now pushing forward, CSO looking to make a little bit of space here as well. Cannons from the French. Looking to help defend. Mangonels continue making their way forward. He's trying his best to escape now. Looks like he might get caught. He's got no choice, but he's going to have to fight. The cannons on the back able to focus them down. The spears doing their best to fend off the horde of cavalry as it comes through. He wants to get those mangoes and springalds out. The knights going to be leaving everything behind here and just say, see you later. And very clearly you can see that Vortex here, he's in a dominant position. He fended off Alyona with that earlier attack. He's fended off CSO now. And CSO's got his tail between his legs. He's wishing he didn't bite off all of that. Let's just put it that way. But triple mango. This is dangerous, but it's not really that dangerous against 96 Royal Knights. The Royal Knights, they should have it down. All right, let's check in on the south. Wall is coming through again. Looks like Wham is going to start adding in some hand cannoneers and... Oh, my lord. Oh, my lord, do you see it? Do you see what I see? 83 Fire Lancers, 10 more in queue. Bombards in position. I think the biggest issue that you've got if you come for this king right now is that he can do a runner. And I think this is such a smart move by Vortex to do this. He has got gates on every single side. If he gets attacked from CSO in the north, he runs the king to the south. If he gets attacked from the south, he runs to the north if Wham tries anything sneaky. It is such a smart move because when it comes to this army, you're not going to beat this army head on. He's got the higher population. He's got superior units. It's a matter of fact. So let's see if Wham's going to be sneaky enough today to pull it off. It's a very smart move, though. And keep in mind, if it does end up working here, he's going to be able to utilize these further. You come over here, look to take down this one. You know, worst case scenario, you just go hit all the landmarks, play whack-a-mole with them, but you're probably going to have to get the king anyway. Probably going to be able to take the king out anyway. All right, spears. Moving into position. How does he want to play it? Let's take a look. He's only got the 2 bombards, so he's not going to be able to rush this down quickly. I feel like whenever it comes to this kind of positioning, you just want to hit it with like 7 bombards at the same time and then rush through. But look at the distance here he's got to cover. Like, there's no way you're getting this king. That's just the smart thing about this position. Joan of Arc now does a little bit of a spin to win here. Meanwhile, inside the base of CSO, looks like we do have movement. So CSO could sense that there is blood in the water. And that Wham is looking to bite off a leg, maybe a hand, an arm. How mad are these 2 sharks going to go when they realize that Vortex could be in a bit of a 2v1 situation here? Keep in mind that CSO does technically have 250 max pop as well. Same with Vortex. So from that perspective, you'd have to say they're pretty even. But now, the siege from the north. The consequence of being piggy in the middle here is that sometimes we get the spit roast out. And today it looks like Vortex is going to be... Sorry, Vortex. Oh, I got to finish my sentence now. He's getting put on the spit. He's getting it done to him. It sucks. But that's just how it goes. So he's managed to evacuate for the moment. When it comes to his landmarks, they're all clustered together. You've got 1, 2, 3, all next to each other, and then you've got the Red Palace. So you have to be very cautious about losing the Red Palace, because if it goes down, then it's only a matter of someone finding the other 3 landmarks and taking them out. But take a look at this, though. Vortex going to be losing a couple villages in this central location underneath the previous base of Alyona. The fight over the resources has begun. Wham with only 51 villages at the moment, 149 military population. He knows that that is his ticket to victory. Have a look at the size of this army, though. Vortex is going to start hunting for the king. You can see the king all the way down in the backside of the base. Stone walls are through. Even with the king back here, I'd still love to see a keep down here for him, just to keep that king just a little bit extra safe, you know, buy him a little bit more time. But there's a lot to go through. You've got your first set of stone walls that he's about to go through, a lot of production as well. So Wham's got 2 ways that he can approach this. The first one is approach it directly, and that doesn't make sense. Why doesn't it make sense? Because he's only got Fire Lancers. Fire Lancers are great at killing buildings. They're not great at killing units. So if Wham is going to win this game, he needs to go now, and he needs to take out Vortex. But Vortex, he's not a silly fella. He knows how to play it. Hopefully he's paying attention, though. The king still hasn't been moved. The king still hasn't been moved. He's going to be in trouble. This could be game right now for him. Wham comes in for a snipe, and that is it. There's no two ways about it. He's in the main base, but he's still got plenty of time. King's going to make his way out. Looks to try and escape towards the gate. He's going to go down, and Vortex gets eliminated. It's going to be Wham versus CSO as your last two. Your heads up for this game. Jeez Louise. It is just one of those things where he wasn't paying attention for just 4 or 5 seconds. The Fire Lancers got in, and it was all over Red Rover. Wow. Sleeping at the keyboard, the poor guy. But you know what? Perfect timing. What absolutely perfect timing from Wham. He waited right until Vortex had his eyes off the prize and just, you know, forgot about the king for a split second, and that was it. It was gone. It was gone like that in a heartbeat. What a play. What an incredible snipe right there. And you might look at that, because we're probably going to put that as like, you know, one of the king snipes of the year, or king snipes of Outback Octagon 3. And you might look at that at the surface and think, yeah, it's a small, like, it wasn't that cool. Bro, that was a king snipe that took a lot of patience, a lot of planning. That was not an easy king snipe to perform. I'm going to say that right now. Now, where do we go from here? How does CSO defend against this horde, absolute horde, of Fire Lancers? Let's take a look and see. So he's got stone walls across the main front. Stone walls towards the south. Stone walls across the north as well. He's walled himself completely in. There is no risk of a... Oh, never mind. He's walled himself completely in. There's no risk of a drop. There's no risk of somebody coming around the outside like a trailer park girl. It's not going to happen. So the question is, how do we get in there? Well, we could bring bombards, but if we bring bombards, he's going to know. We need to just get behind the walls. Once we get behind the walls, we're fine. The question is how we get behind the walls. CSO is going to try and fight a heads-up game here. Wham doesn't want to fight a heads-up game. What does that mean? Well, you know how you get two guys in the rings, and they're both heavyweights, and they just punch each other until one of them falls down? That's not what Wham's doing. Wham is looking to try and get like a sneaky kick to the groin. That's what Wham's doing right now. Oh, no. Oh, my lord, look at this sacred site. The only option for Wham here has got to be a snipe. There's no way he's getting a sacred victory. That is for sure. Not with that sacred site. Look at that. Talk about, you know, safety back at home. Jeez Louise. All right, up towards that top side. Fire Lancers continue to poke and prod. So he could look to try and do a drop and come across up to this angle. But if I was him, the main focus for me is... Oh. Now, these are horsemen, if I remember correct. What do we got here? Elite Knights and horsemen? No, they're Elite Knights and Warrior Monks. You don't want to be fighting that. You want to be avoiding that. Okay, so it looks like Wham's going to push up. But this is actually really good for Wham, because it's going to give CSO a false sense of security that he's about to win the game. And when people do that, they often... Well, they forget about things. You know, as we saw a little bit earlier, when you think you're about to win the game... with your horde of 100 elite royal knights, you make mistakes, don't you? You make mistakes. You forget about things, don't you? Don't you? Yes, we know all too well that even the best players in the world can make small mistakes when they're under pressure. And so, naturally, Wham will be... I suspect Wham is going to be quite happy in this situation that CSO has taken the sacred site. Because right now, for CSO... the best thing he could do is just push down the middle. Literally just try and kill your enemy right now. And then that actually puts you on a real timer, because now you have to deal with that straight away. Whereas this is a timer, but this is an 8-minute timer. 8 minutes is a lot of time. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and set up docks. I'm going to start with some transport ships. You know what I mean? Like, this is plenty of time right here. This is exactly what he wants. And like 8 minutes is so long that I could bring Vils up here and I could build a stables and make a new army. But look at this. It's going to get spotted out. CSO knows. CSO's found it. He knows that his enemy was looking to do this. So if I'm CSO right now, I'm deleting every... Oh, never mind. Okay. That is fine as well. That is absolutely... Actually, it's not. Because of Fire Lancers. You need stone walls. The Fire Lancers will get through. That's what you got to remember. These have got more torch damage than the average bear. You've got 20 torch damage here against 34 torch damage. And you might not think that's a big difference. Oh, it's only an extra 14 torch damage that they're doing. You got to remember that there is fire armor that buildings have. And so now, because you've got that base fire armor, that difference is much more significant because you're cutting through that fire armor a lot easier. So more of your attack is getting through as a percentage. It is a huge amount of difference. And we can actually see, look at this, CSO manages to spot out the transport ships in the north. So this is an angle that's been shut down. But you got to remember that Wham has got space. He's still got time. He's got 7 minutes to come up with some way that he's going to get into the enemy base. And remember, if worse comes to worse, all he needs to do is find the landmarks. If we take a look at where these landmarks are, we've got the main town center, we've got the high trade house, we've got the Spasskaya Tower. Where is that third landmark? The Kremlin. It's over here. It's on the west side. They're all relatively close together. It might be a bit hard to find one, but, you know, as long as he brings a couple scouts, he should be okay. But it looks like he's going to make a move towards the middle. Now, keep in mind, he still 100% wants to neutralize the sacred sites because it's going to buy him more time. But this is always a good thing to have going for you. How many resources does Wham have in the bank? He's got a fair, decent chunk of resources in the bank here. He could just be looking to free this up. Now, if I'm Wham, I'm looking at it from two potential approaches. The first one is down here, and I'm kind of curious why he hasn't actually come down here yet and gone for this. And the second one is already this approach that he is going for up towards this top side. So, you know, getting some vills up here, looking to try and create stables, that sort of thing. Wham's going to get forced back from the sacred site. Not going to be able to neutralize it for the moment. A lot of units here, and only a matter of time until that victory will ring out. Let's have a look and see. Has he decided to make moves just yet? We got some knights that have managed to find their way through. I don't know exactly how they did it. How did the knights get through on this? Oh, they went through here and then they came up and around. I see what the issue is. We got attacks happening all over this map right now. These siege workshops, I thought they were red siege workshops. They are not. They've left over. I think it might be Elyona's siege workshops. A little bit of trade happening as well for Wham. Wham is trading. It's official. You can call it from the rooftops. 52 minutes into this game. Things starting to look up for CSO. Honestly, CSO's looking pretty good right here. My main fear right now is that, like, Wham hasn't really made anything happen. You know, like, he was trying here. Like, you know, when it comes to this position, like, this is a position where you need to try and make those Hail Mary moves. You need to find that win condition, that victory condition. So, you know, coming down to here, there's only 2 layers of stone walls. I mean, it's still a lot. And, I mean, if you've got 4 or 5 bombards, you can break through that pretty quickly, together with the fire lancers. I think that's fine. The only trouble is there's no more fire lancers. All the fire lancers are gone. I don't know where they went. There were a couple that were remaining up here, but with the presence of stone walls and because of the Spasskaya, it makes it really tough right now. Because now the longer that this goes on for, the more and more Wham has to address the elephant in the room, which is that your enemy has got a sacred victory that's ticking down, and we need to stop it. And we haven't really increased our position at this stage of the game. He's got 102 vills now, so his vill count has gone way back up. You know, he was down on 50 before. Now he's back all the way up to 100. And he continues to push towards the sacred site. Springalds are coming out as well. Clock towers, 12 range on them. Remember, no bandit arms going to be here, just because of we've gone for Spasskaya. We could always just break through the wall and then decap the sacred site here. That could also be an option for you, because you do know about that. But you got to have a big brain to even think like that, right? Like, to break off one scout and send them over to the sacred site to stop the sacred victory, like, that requires quite a bit of brain activity. Now, in this position, I will also say that Wham reserves the right or the ability to resign, because it's a 1v1, it's a heads up. We don't want to prolong the game longer than it needs to go. If Wham just says, you know what, like, I can't find any win condition here, I'm just going to tap out, he can 100% do that as an option. But I think he's going to go for it here. Look at Bombard. Oh, yeah, he's going for it here. He could look to crack the center, but you got to remember, you're fighting up against, you know, this is a defensive position. You're up against Streltsy, particularly good. Now, obviously, you got Pyrotechnics here, a little bit more range on your hand cannoneers. So that's going to be another option for him. But this is going to be an uphill battle. Mango numbers are really, really quite high for CSO. One big shot, and this could be the game, and it could be the game! Look at the Mango! Oh my God, the destruction on the back was terrible for him right there. Men-at-Arms nowhere to be seen. Who needs Men-at-Arms when the Spearmen just look at them, obliterated. Wham! 0-1, in the blink of an eye, loses his entire army to Mangonels. And you can't help but wonder why. How did he do that? How did he just let it go? What happened there? Why did he just throw away his entire army? He's going to try his best to kite it away, but 3 minutes until Sacred defeat, it becomes imminent. the fact that he is not winning this game. There is no Hail Mary that he is throwing. And you got to remember, you miss 100% of the throws that you, the catches that you don't throw. Shots you don't take. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And if, like, he took that one Hail Mary up here, got caught within, like, you know, 2 minutes. And now he's kind of stuck. He's just sitting here like, okay, well, my army's dead. I'm down to 165 pop. You're winning in 3 minutes. What do I do here? This feels... And that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be Wham that taps out with CSO, your victor today, starting off on the east side of the map against Louis MT. It looked like there would be no opportunity for him to win this game, but somehow he found a way through, and wouldn't have you guessed it, it was on the map with the million damn deer. Ladies and gentlemen, CSO, representing Team China, comes out with the victory today. A really nice play from him in the end. And you can't help but feel like he built it on the mistakes of his opponents. You know, we had El Yona, who failed to wall the king in. Little things like, you know, I'm not going to say that Wham made a mistake there at the end, because if you can't find the win condition, we've got Omnivision. We see it all. We know all the facts. So you got to keep that in mind. So it can be tough when you're playing to actually find those win conditions. But yeah, in the end, just incredibly well played there from our victor today. So congratulations going over to CSO. Let's take a look at, are there any relevant stats in here? Not really. I mean, he's killed the most units. So he lived the longest, so naturally that's going to be the way that it goes. Other than that, eco count, I mean, El Yona was just looking like the absolute king that game. But unfortunately, didn't go his way. Anyway, we'll leave it there for you folks on YouTube. Hopefully, you fellas have enjoyed the video. And of course, we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.